What up, everybody? We're here at Vogue Creatives, and I'm with a special guest. Some of you might know who he is, and some of you might not, but he actually goes by the Unkown Podcaster. Very smart, very well-spoken individual. But we're going to be doing some reactions today. We're going to be looking at some motivational stuff, motivational quotes. With everything going on in the world, we thought we'd look at some of the things that are, motivating or possibly life-changing. UP, Unkown Podcaster, you have anything you want to say?
A disclaimer, so we don't waste anybody's time, because I value your time. If you are not a high achiever and you don't want more in life, just keep scrolling, skip this video. Don't listen to us. We don't know anything anyways, honestly. Don't consider the source. Don't take our opinion, So for high achievers only, if you're comfortable with what you got, then just go back to Netflix or go watch your cat videos or something.
The thing that's crazy.
No cats are harmed. I don't mind cats. I'm allergic to them, but I don't want people to come after me for making a comment about cats. We love cats.
We love cats over here.
We do.
The crazy thing is he's UP, the Unkown Podcaster. But if y'all knew, if y'all had the slide, I'm not even gonna tell you guys, but he has every right to say a lot of what's probably gonna be said and what he said. So, all right, we're gonna get into the videos.
Person that you are comfortable being alone with, that is the one person in this universe that you have full power, full right, full responsibility to change.
If you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably wouldn't be a really chill life.
Yeah.
What would you put them through to make them patient? Well, you probably wouldn't give them things immediately. And so it's like, we want these traits, but each of the traits has a price tag attached to it. And it's just like, do you want to pay the price tag to get the thing? And so I think if people reframed the period of life that they're going through as the price that they're paying out of their wallet, but the wallet is their time, it's the seconds of life that they're trading for it, then I think more people would be willing to make the trade. Because at least when I look at myself, like when I'm 80 something years old and I'm looking back at my life, I want to have these traits. But in order to have those traits, I know I have to go through these things. And I think for me, that's given me a lot of comfort in hard times.
What do you feel about that, UP?
Yeah, I mean, off the bat, anything we say right now, just so people know, it's nothing new, right? We've talked about this before, Kane.
100%.
Nothing we're saying is new. I just hope this time you get the message. Because sometimes, I have 7 kids. I could tell my kid something over and over and over, but then somebody else tells my kid that, and they're like, "Oh man, Dad, guess what they said?" I said, "What are you talking?" I've been saying that for years.
100%.
Right? So whatever we talk about right now, just know that, hopefully you need to hear the message. But as he's talking about patience and talking about the things that, sometimes we pray for or we ask God for, he doesn't give you patience. He gives you opportunities to be patient. Right? So he doesn't, you start the day, pay attention to hopefully you do pray as the first thing you do every morning. I don't want to sound like one of those crazy business guys who does ice plunges, but I do every morning. I do, right? Kate knows this, okay? And let me give you, Kate knows my process, but it has to do with this video because it has to do with prayer. And I do this literally religiously every single morning. I don't just go in the ice plunge from neck down. I literally submerge my whole body. So I plunge 3 times, right? The first time I go under ice cold water, I'm asking for just nothing at all from him. I'm basically just thanking him. And it's a pretty short prayer because the first time when you're waking up, your lungs aren't very big. So you're holding your breath underneath the water. It's not very long because you've just been really resting all night. So my first prayer to God every morning is just gratitude for being alive, for having a heartbeat, for being able to, have a home, my healthy children who love me, good relationship with my wife, anything, whatever comes to mind, right? Then the second one is interesting because usually when people pay attention, you're just asking God for things, but you're not thanking him. And it's really hard to feel grateful sometimes. I think we say we're grateful, but to actually feel grateful is a different story, right? So what Hormozi here is talking about being patient and asking for patience. Well, God's not going to give you patience. God's not going to give you what you asked for. For the second time I go under, it's for forgiveness. The only thing I'm asking him for forgiveness, because I'm an imperfect person. I make mistakes every day as much as I try not to. I make mistakes in my relationship. I make mistakes, whether it's with my wife or with my kids, whatever it is, meaning I could be a better father, not meaning I'm doing anything else that's bad. I'm just saying, like, I could have been a better person. And sometimes as men, we beat ourselves up, right? So at the end of the day, that second time I go under, I'm asking for forgiveness. And then the third one is really interesting because I kind of mess with myself.
What do you do?
I mess with myself, right? I give myself a false narrative. So by the third time you dunk completely underwater, at this point you're kind of used to the cold.
Right.
It's not as bad as it was before.
100%.
It's maybe 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in. And the last time I go under, I hold my breath as long as I can, but I'm envisioning myself in a car that just accidentally drove over a bridge, and I'm drowning, and I can't break my windows in my car, and I can't get out. It's the same vision every single morning that I see. And because I'm actually underwater, the scenario feels real. And I can't breathe.
Freezing water.
Because I'm underwater. I literally can't breathe. And in my mind, I'm imagining I'm breaking windows trying to get out, and I can't. And I'm thinking about the position I left my family in. Is it a good one? Did I leave my wife in a good position? Did I leave everything inside of my children that I needed to? You know, wealthy parents, it's not about what you leave for your children. It's about what you leave in your children, right? So did I do everything I was supposed to do as a father? I'm thinking all these thoughts rapidly as I can't breathe underwater. And then finally at that last moment when I could actually, like, I just pop up because I need air, that moment I realized, oh my gosh, I'm alive. And you feel real gratitude at that point because I actually have air in my lungs at that point. And that's the third dunk. So to bring us back to the beginning of what Hormozi's talking about here, about patience, well, I don't ask God for anything that I know that he's going to give me situations to be better in. So as long as we understand that he's not just going to give it to us, the process becomes a bit more bearable. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, but at least if you understand it, it's a bit more bearable.
That was truly amazing, man. Honestly, a lot of people take for granted what is thrown at us. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a blessing to go through certain things in life. It's all a blessing. You know what I mean? People complain about, like I always like to say, first world problems. You know what I mean? Oh man, you know, they messed up my order. I got overtime at work. You're gonna be complaining if you're broke. It's either you're complaining about if you're broke or you have things. But that's beautiful. And he's not. There's no cap in his rap, man. He really does start his day like this. And again, he's UP. He's unknown, but he, like I said, like the way he comes in here and just like, man, it's honestly that's very inspiring. I think I'm gonna go to a cold plunge probably tomorrow, maybe not today because then I won't sleep. But honestly, it's very inspirational.
Take a cold shower. Start with a cold shower.
I did yesterday.
If anything, before you go to sleep, right, jump in a cold shower for like a minute. Lower your body temperature. It'll allow you to get into deeper sleep faster. So you don't have to sit in it for very long. Just chill your body out for a minute. Bring your body temperature down so you're not so hot.
100%.
You'll sleep better.
I'm gonna do it. Let's get to the next one.
Love this game. I mean, love it with your whole heart. Because if you don't, let's not even bother. Let's not open that door. They're just gonna slam it right in our face. I love this game. I live this game. And there's 1,000 other guys waiting in the wings who are obsessed with this game. Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about? Let's face it, it's you against you out there. When you walk on that court, you have to think, I am the best guy out there.
Whatever you...
Ooh, that one is crazy. That one is crazy. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think that's true most of the time. You know, sometimes I do have, you know, we're doing motivational videos, but it's interesting because I don't really look to motivation a lot more than just having the discipline of doing what you're supposed to do, right? I don't know. I this might sound bad, but I don't feel like as a man, as the patriarch of my family, I have the luxury of feeling a certain way or motivated. I think you just have to do it. You wake up every day and you don't feel like doing anything. I'm sure everybody would love to stay in bed.
100%.
Right? So I think what he's talking about there and loving what you do and it's you versus you. It's true. I mean, if you don't realize this until you have kids, right, Kane? You have a son. I have 52 kids. Maybe a little exaggeration, but I do have a lot of kids.
43.
Yeah, 43. You could add those together. I got 7. So I think it's important, as you have kids, then you realize, you don't realize it until you're trying to teach your own kids how to deal with the challenges of life. And taking on what Adam Sandler's saying in that video, just you versus you, or, having the passion to do it or whatnot. I think it's, especially raising little boys is different than raising little girls. So
110%.
You have to give each of them a different message. And to my kids, to my little boys, to my young men that I'm trying to raise, I would tell them, it's you versus you, but there are other people that will be dependent on you one day. So it's not just you versus you. And then for my little girls, I would hope that they find a strong enough man that they could be a supportive, and loving and everything like that. But I think this video, I think is a good sports video.
What I got from it really was, a lot of people are fixated at the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got from this was, if you're not in love with the journey, things are gonna they're gonna scramble. And I can honestly say, like, I'm a videographer. I do photography as well. For those of you that don't know, but I remember when I first started, my career, everybody was telling me, what kind of videography, what kind of photography, niched out. And I'm like, in reality, and I've told some of my mentors. So, my mentors were typically like in the fashion industry. They were showing me how to do things, more editorial, but I was like, man, I want to do all things photography. I want to do all things videography. I love it, the sport of videography. I want to be able to do a commercial. I want to be able to do a high fashion video. I want to be able to do like the, crazy a music video, a love video, everything. I want to make you cry, laugh, everything through the lens. And
you want to tell a story.
100%. And I just remember, like, people were like, everybody was just like, choose a lane, stay in the lane, stay in the lane. But the point is, I was like, I was very conflicted because I didn't know what lane I wanted to be in. And I just went nonstop, and I'm like, I'm in love with this. You know what I mean? It's like, you get that, when you get in a relationship. When I was younger, like, you get in a relationship and you're like, man, you just go until one day you're like, I want to marry this girl. You know what I'm saying? You don't. So I just wanted to say that, like, I'm in love with the process and with the game, with the long hours and things like that. So that's what I got from that video. But it was a good sports video.
I think sometimes these motivational videos, the problem that I have with it is sometimes they're geared towards like sports.
Yeah.
And you can think of your life like sports, but the problem with thinking about your life like sports, that means that there's a competitor on the other end. And oftentimes in relationships, that's not a good thing. It's a game where there should be no competitor. Essentially just the devil is the competitor you're trying to beat, right? So I understand a lot of these motivational videos, but sometimes I don't want to say I disagree with them, but they're hard to compare to life. They're good for sports. So they'll hype you up to score 42 points in a game, but, you got to treat it a little bit differently.
100%. We're going to go to the next one.
You've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that. That's why I don't know about nothing else. I do not pay attention to nothing else. There was games of football on yesterday, there was rugby, there was this, there was that. And like normal society is like, let's talk about this and let's engage in this. And I can't do it. I just don't, people are talking to me and in my head I'm counting something. I'm counting up a number, or I'm knee deep in a sequence on the mat or on the feet. That's my life, sequences and numbers, nothing else. I cannot pay attention to nothing else.
The fear is...
What do you feel about that?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot to say about that. I mean, I think sometimes the highest achievers, people think we're not paying attention because we're so lost in our own world. It's just that we're so consumed in it all the time. Consumed, obsessed, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes it could be challenging in relationships because, you know, your other half is like, hey, pay attention. But you're thinking about the 1,000 other things that are going to be able to take care of your family sometimes. And it's hard to separate those things. But you're so consumed in it because you care so much about your family and the end result that sometimes it gets misconstrued. Right? And so for him, his sport and what he does, he's very laser focused, and that's what I'm taking from it. You just got to be laser focused towards whatever it is, and he's definitely shown that. He's got a great story. Whether you like him or you hate him, I mean, he came from nothing.
Facts.
So you gotta give it to somebody who comes from nothing. I always root for the underdog.
Me too, 100%.
Yeah. The challenge is now when he's not the underdog. Now no one roots for him, right? So that's the challenge, is when you're an underdog, you're not a threat. Everybody loves you. You're cool with everybody. And then after you succeed a little bit, and then you succeed a lot, and then when you succeed more than anybody else expected, then you really begin to see the true colors. And then, at least in my experience, then you begin to go inward and you have less people in your life because you realize, ooh, all these other people aren't good for me. And then all these other people are asking, hey, what happened to you? Where'd you go? Why aren't you responding? Hey, I needed to clarify some things, you know? And then you realize the people who are bothering you enough and saying, hey, you good? Then you realize that those are the real ones.
100%.
Right? But when you're just like everybody else, you're friends with everybody.
Right. So, Unkown Podcaster, on your journey to success, whatever that may be, because he's unknown, what was it like when it came to people around you? Because I have to ask, because I'm dealing with this. This is the most recent thing that I'm dealing with, but people are getting filtered out. 2 years ago, it was worse. I was like, damn, like it hurt. It hurt. What do you got to say about that? Like, what do you feel? What advice would you give?
I think that's the reason why I'm Unkown Podcaster, because I really don't want to be found. Before I really thought I needed to be found for all the businesses that I had, and I was out there. So if you know, you might know. If you don't, it's okay with me, because I really don't want to be known right now. So, but I do think it's the reason I'm on this is you basically forced me to be here, right?
He has such an incredible message.
Well, I have to be here. This is kind of home to me. But but long story short, what happens is PBD said it best. Patrick Bet David. Love this guy.
Shout out to PBD, man.
I'm paraphrasing this a little bit, okay? But as you gain success, you have more resources. And if we're talking about resources, let's just go to it. Money, right? So the first time you help out a family member or a friend, Kane, they're truly grateful. Oh, man, thanks, Kane. Thanks for helping me out. I really appreciate that, right? Thanks, man. That was so kind of you. All right, second time. I'm a little behind on my rent. Hey, you think you could spot me? Maybe this, that. Okay, cool. I got you. Yeah, I'll take care of your mortgage. I'll take care of your rent, your car payment, whatever. I'll help you out, right? Second time. Yeah, they're grateful, but no, they expect it. Again, I'm paraphrasing this. I know PBD got a post on this, and it really struck home with me. That's why I remember it. The third time you help somebody out, now they're almost anticipating it, right? They don't have a problem going to you. Maybe the first and second time they might have felt a little bit of shame, but by the third time the shame is gone.
Right.
They can go to you and they could ask for help, right? And then the fourth time is basically they're entitled to it. They feel entitled. They feel entitled to your success. They feel entitled to your money. They feel entitled to the hard work that you put in, because, oh man, look how well you're doing. My life is so hard. You're doing so great. You could help me out. Oh, that's nothing to you. Oh, that payment to you is a drop in the bucket, right?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Has somebody? I know. I'm so sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
you're good.
I'm genuinely curious, because I'm kind of I've dealt with that before. People like, has somebody, whoever has asked you for help, told you that, like, yo, you got it? Like, have they?
Absolutely. You might need to blurp it out, but yes, it's really interesting. Some of the individuals that you may not expect it from, they say, oh, that's easy for you. Oof.
That's why that would piss me off.
You want to trigger me? Don't tell me that was easy for me. Because just because I don't complain about the things that I go through, when the high achievers don't complain, they do. And they stay quiet. And you don't even know 99% of the time that they went through it, because they're just so used to getting through it and they don't want to complain. They just move on from it. They're not there looking for your sympathy, right? So that fourth time that they come to you, now they're entitled to you. They think that they deserve it. You've already helped them out 3 times. Now the fourth time they're entitled. Now guess what happens on the 5th time? And by the time you get to the 5th time, you're fed up, right?
100.
So I say no. And then what happens? Then you're the enemy, Kane. Then you're the enemy. Like I said, I didn't come up with this, but I live it. And when PBD posted this, I was like, oof. He's speaking to my soul. He's speaking to my soul right now. We need that button. Oh man, we need that button. We got to figure out how to program that button.
I'm gonna get it by tomorrow.
Yeah, but essentially, it's really interesting because that's when your circle gets smaller and you realize why people really ring you. You know, this is the truth. My phone's been on Do Not Disturb for almost 2 years, maybe more.
100%. Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah, and it's going to stay that way. So if you're not on my favorites, hey, no offense, text me. I'll get back to you super quick. Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, man, I didn't mean to tell you to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it. I got it.
Yeah, and you got to protect your peace. You got to protect, the only people on my favorites are the important ones, are the people that actually, truly, genuinely care. And the people that actually, my children, the ones who need me, the phone calls got to come through. Other than that, shoot me a text and I'm going to get back to you at my convenience, because I don't actually know what you want, because I've lost trust in the amount of times that you called me. So I don't know if it's actually an emergency. If it is, I will maybe consider helping you out. But I got to take care of my kids first, my family first, them, they can knock on my door all day long. But even some of your other family members, grown ass adults, Kane, and the worst ones are the men that I've helped out, and they still
talk about that. What you mean, like, man? Give me okay. I mean, you don't have to get into super detail, but
no, there's some motherfuckers out there who owe me a lot of money, and it's like, hey, when you needed my help, I sent
you right away.
Real quick, I helped you out.
Boom.
Right, I helped you out, and now you got every excuse in the book. I don't know how many times your cat died. I don't know how many times you broke your leg. I don't know how many times the traffic got in the way from you getting to the bank. I don't know how many more buts. All I know is I'm moving on, but it's noted, right? It's disappointing. And you just fucked it up for everybody else. Pardon my French, but you just messed it up for all the other good. It's like the peddlers on the street. You pull up and you're like, man, that looks, I really want to help her. She's got kids with her. But damn, I seen this Instagram reel where she's actually driving a Mercedes and she gets in her car and she goes back to her home and she's lying. I hate that those thoughts even have to go through your head. I wish we lived in an honest world where we could genuinely help. And I do, and it's not my place to say, hey, whatever happens afterwards, that's up to God, right? But it's terrible that we have to think like that, and especially around friends and family, because you do want to help them, but at some point you gotta cut them off.
Sometimes we enable them.
We definitely do.
There was when I was younger, I used to go to school by Western and Madison. And if you know, this was back, I went to a military school. So it was like the area, they had just opened it, and it was like kind of more like a rural area. Mm-hmm. And, there was a lot of homeless people, selling loose squares. If like I said, if you're from Chicago, loose squares. But there was, a couple people that were not doing so well. And they'd be like, hey, can I get $1, whatever. And, every now and then I give $1, whatever. But then one time I didn't have change, okay? And I said, you know what? I don't got no change. This dude pulls out a wad of cash. I was like, I got change? Bro, ever since that, I was like, I can't. And you know what? I'll give you another one. This was right there it was in Little Village. This is one of my, around there. Not, so this is where my son, there was the hospital my son was born at. And I go to the car. I'm inspecting his little car seat. We're getting ready to, take him out. He's just born. And it was like the night before. I was just getting everything ready. No sleep. You know how that is. And there's this guy walking around, limping, and he's there. He goes, excuse me, sir. But, around there, I'm like, So he's like, excuse me, sir. I'm not doing too well. this and this. He seemed very genuine, very genuine. And he goes, and he shows me this bus card. He goes, I'm trying to get to, and he points at it. There's a reason I'm saying all this. He points at it. He goes, I'm trying to get to this location. It's the Metro, but he says the name. And I'm like, man, you know what? I was like, I really did. I don't know why I didn't have like my wallet on me, but I had forgot it. Or I didn't have cash. It was a debit card. So I had like this thing of like an emergency thing in my car of money with change and bills, like, you know, probably like $50 in there. And I was like, you know what, man? Like, just take it here. I'm taking it. You know, I was real emotional. My son was just born. I was like, boom, just take it, man. I give it to him. He's limping. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, poor guy doesn't even have a car. You got to take the, you know what I mean? Older, though. I think about my grandparents. What if my dad was walking, you know? So the next day, I have, like, my son. He's in the car. You know, his mom is right there. And the same guy comes waltzing by. And where he said he was going to go was super far. I'm like, how the hell did he get back? Like, I'm talking about, like, he was trying to take the train to Indiana or something like that. So I'm like, how did he get back? So he goes, excuse me, sir. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You know, everything good, you know? He goes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm trying to get to this spot over here. It says, and I'm looking at him. He's like, if you can help me out with any money, I'm trying to get to this location. He's like, it's the Metro. Look, do I have to take the CTA? I'm looking at him, and I'm like, the CTA, huh? I was like, you mother... Bro, I was so pissed. But, like, those are the two times where I was like, I can't. Like, I don't know anymore. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? And there's been a couple... And this is not to knock anybody that's going through those situations, because I know people that have been through those situations, like, for real. And they're hungry. Like, there's not to take away from them, but like you said, there has been situations where people have gone through that, and people have offered them jobs, and they're like, nah, I'd rather be doing this. So, you know, I kind of get you. You know what I mean? I get you. But yeah, let's get to one last video, and then we can pop out of here, man.
Never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
In my personal...
What do you think about that?
I think that's this is rocking chair test. You ever heard of this?
Nah, what?
Rocking chair test.
The rocking chair test. What
so
is
the
that?
rocking chair test is pretend like you're 80, 90 years old. You're in your last decade of life, and you're sitting on your front porch in your rocking chair, and you're looking back at all the decisions you made, man. And you're thinking about all the choices you made with your kids and how they turned out and what they did, and if you're still married to the same person you were supposed to be married to 50 years later, and you're looking back. And I think it's a little bit about what Joe Rogan's talking about right there. He's thinking about what you could have been, right? I think what everybody should do is kind of change that. I don't know how people look at AI, but we did this recently. We made some AI photos, right? Mm-hmm. And I looked at some of those. Some of those are a better version of myself than what I am. I think you could use that to your advantage, right? Mm-hmm. Look at that video. I do look at some of the photos that were in that. I'm like, damn, I wish I was that skinny. I wish my skin was that clear. I wish my hair was that like tight.
He
right?
looks like James Bond. I'm like, I even asked him, who the hell's this guy?
I said, and so I think maybe using that as a motivation to say, hey, that's the best version of myself currently right now. Why am I not that? Right? Mm-hmm. I could do the work to become that. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And so it's about not having the regret and doing the work to be able to have the clarity to get that done. I think we're distracted. 100%. We're talking about this before. We're sedated. We're sedated in information, right? We just came out of the information age, and I think we're in the too much information age, right? There's the industrial age, there's the information age, and now we're in the too much information
industrial
age, right?
revolution.
We can't even there's way too much to decipher. So I think we need more clarity, and that comes from my opinion, spirituality and digging deep, which I'm still doing. We're all still doing. We'll still be doing forever.
100%. If you're not climbing, you're declining.
Yeah. And as you climb every new level, there's a new devil, I'm telling you, because there's like we just talked about, there's challenges, and you look back, kind of what Joe Rogan is talking about here. You might look back and be like, oh man, the problem I thought I was so stressed about 6 months, a year ago, 2 years ago, man, I wish I had that problem today, because it wasn't that big of a deal, but I made it a really big deal.
100%.
Right? So I grew up in a very Jewish population where I grew up, and my best friend was Jewish, and I spent a lot of time, more time probably around his mom than maybe in my own family, and she would always tell me, there's this Jewish proverb where if we all took our problems, Kane, and we all sat down around a round table, and we all put our problems out on the table, in the middle of the table, all of us, and we all looked at everybody else's problems, we'd all take our own problems back because we'd see everybody else's problems. We wouldn't want anybody else's problems. We would only want to deal with our problems, right? So having said that, we all have problems. Trust me, you probably only want yours. You definitely don't want other people's. And just know 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, as you look back at the better version that you had become, hopefully you became a better person. You look back and you say, wow, it wasn't that big of a deal. So in the moment, just know it's really not that big of a deal. 100%. It feels like a big deal. Trust me, I'm going through some things right now that feel like a big deal.
I don't even
and I got to tell myself that. I got to live 10 years out and look back.
Yeah, you're going to look back and definitely laugh. I mean, right now, it's, and you know, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. What's crazy, and that's why you are who you surround yourself with. I look up to this guy a lot. Like, a lot. Like, when he, like legit, there's a reason why he said it. I forced him on here. There's a big reason. But you would never know he had the problems, or where you would never know he's dealing with what he's dealing with. You would never know. And I'm just like, I mean, when you want to get to the next level, he said it, a new level, a new devil. And you got to be, I mean, granted, if you work, you work hard, you're going to get there, but you got to be careful what you wish for.
I didn't come up with every new level there's a new devil. I heard that somewhere, probably on Instagram or something. Like I said, everything we're saying today isn't new.
Right.
I just hope this time you get the message, right? So
100%.
I'm not claiming anything.
100%.
But like you, big reader. So, you got to live by the mantras and the philosophies and the things that you read and the people you surround yourself with. So,
I'm going to just tell this real quick story. The reason I quit my job, I mean, it wasn't the only reason, but this, I didn't even know, what is this exact scenario called? It's called the rocking chair method.
Mm-hmm.
I did the rocking chair method with my old mentor, and we talked. And because I was in the restaurant industry, and man, I swear to you, I was like averaging 18,000 steps. I started at 9 a.m. and by 1, I was at 18,000 steps. From 9 a.m. to 1, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was head dishwasher too. I was in the restaurant business too.
For real? Hey man, UP, the unknown podcaster. But yeah, you got the head dishwasher. Yeah, if you guys go on Vote Creatives, check it out, man. We got the list right there. It's a little inside joke, but yeah, my body I was super tired. I was working a lot of hours. You're dealing with a lot of energies. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with the people in the back, the front, the prep team. You know what I mean? And you know what's crazy too? Like even like with the chefs on the line. It's pressure. That restaurant pressure is crazy when you're in the kitchen and when you give them an order. But it's one of the pressures, and I'll go back to telling the story. But one of the pressures is like when you have an order and a customer wants to change it, and you tell the chef, "Oh my God." But the point is, I was working at this restaurant. I'm talking to my mentor. Before he was my mentor, before I was like, man, I want to do this full time. I want to do the photography full time, videography full time. And I was thinking, I was like, man, and he was telling me, he's like, man, there's people that are in your industry that never retire. And I'm not talking about like owners. Owners is different, but I'm talking about like my grandma on my Puerto Rican side was still working at IHOP at 60.
Mm-hmm.
Bad knee. Like had to work 10, 12 hours. And I'm like, and there's no disrespect to anybody that does that. But I was like, you know what? And that's fine because
Don't worry, they're not listening. Remember the disclaimer?
Yeah, right.
It's okay.
And the thing was, my ex-boss, I respect that he loved that industry so much. That's different. He loved that industry so much. But I'm like, you know what? I never get to see my son. I'm working these amount of hours. This is not my restaurant. This isn't mine. I was like, you know what? If I've been broke with a job before, why not chase my dream? What if I'm on my deathbed? What is my son gonna think? What example am I gonna give him if I didn't do all the things that I wanted in my life, or at least try? And that day, I was like, man, I'm telling you, it's just that those little clicks. I'm like, like it really scared me. I pictured myself on that bed looking at my son. Like, what is he gonna think of his father? What is he gonna, you know what I'm saying? What is he gonna take to his grave?
Yeah, what are you gonna give him?
Exactly.
Seniority of the better shift and Sundays and Mondays off.
Yeah,
Like, what are you gonna give him? What are you gonna give him? It's a good point. You know what I mean? Yeah,
100%. So you know, but yeah, man. But you know what, UP, I appreciate it. I appreciate you being on here with me because I know you're extremely busy. If you, like I said, if y'all know, you know, man. Y'all gonna be seeing UP a lot more, man.
Yeah, thank you for forcing me. Yeah. I feel like you and someone else told me that I guess it was important for the stories to be told because maybe there's somebody out there who needs to hear it. Like we said at the beginning, like even about my own kids, I could tell them to do something and they don't listen, but hopefully they get the message this time and they reach out or they make a decision to make their life better or their family better, right? So
100%.
That's why we do this.
I love it, man. But hey, if you guys ever want to book a podcast space or do anything like that, man, check out Vogue Creatives. You could look us up online and follow us on Instagram at Vogue Creatives. My Instagram is Kane's World TV. If you guys got anything from this video, or you guys have any concerns or any comments on what you guys want to see in the future, you guys can go ahead and comment below. Like, follow, subscribe, man. Have a good one.